You are listening to episode 309 of the Percussion podcast. This is Ksenija Komljenović speaking, your host, and with me are my buddies, Ben Charles.
Hey, Ksenija, how are you?
Hey, Ben, I'm holding up. We're about to finish up the semester. How are you?
I'm doing well as well. We are also finishing up. We have our holiday collage concert tomorrow where we're performing Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You that I arranged for percussion and soprano, so it's going to be fun.
Oh my God, please tell me there will be a video.
It should be webcast, so yeah.
Send it. It's my favorite song. It's the one that I don't get sick of every time.
Same.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we have our new buddy, Caleb Pickering here.
Hey, how's it going? I wish I could say I had something as cool as Mariah Carey coming up this next week. But yeah, just normal concert Christmassy music for us.
Damn it. Damn it. Have you ever considered that as a composer to start arranging Christmas music? Because there's always a need, at least once a year.
There's a market, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things like you're going to chase the money, but you have to sacrifice a certain amount of your own self.
Oh, I have no shame.
No, Ben has given integrity to the gods of finance, so it's fine. Okay, well, we will be releasing this episode on December 9, and so you might be wondering what happened in music history on this day. Actually, we did lose a giant. We lost Charles Rosen. Has anyone ever read anything by Charles Rosen here? No? If you are at all interested in developing more of an imposter syndrome, it's all about what Charles Rosen did. So he was a pianist, best known for his book, The Classical Style, which you should read because it's a really brilliant look and opinion on the development of classical music, or the classical period, I should say. So he died in 2012. But in any case, he was one of those people who went to Juilliard at 6, left Juilliard at 11 to study with Rosenthal, piano. At 18, he went to Princeton to study French. He completed his PhD at the age of 24 with a dissertation on poetry of Jean de La Fontaine. And then he went to France on a Fulbright to examine the relationship between poetry and music. And then in 1953, when he was 26, he went to teach at MIT, to teach French. And on top of that, he had a serious piano career. But in any case, if you're interested in any of the nerdy stuff, you probably know who Richard Taruskin is, a musicologist, again, American musicologist, big deal. For me, he's like a rock star of musicology. And him and Rosen used to have these little like fights, which is all about what nerds freak out over. I loved reading about those. And again, Rosen, I don't know how he made it. He only taught French for 2 years, really. And then he went on to be a successful concert pianist and write a lot. But he also was the kind of person that like reviewed the Harvard Dictionary of Music in the New York Times. It's just like, how do you do that? The Harvard Dictionary of Music? Like what? That's not skimming over stuff. I don't know. In any case, if you care about musicology or serious thinkers about music, go check him out. But today is the day that Charles Rosen died. So we now move along to our guest. Today, we're going to be talking about boutique mallet making. And mallets are, of course, absolutely essential to us. And this is yet another career path that our young listeners should consider and can pursue. So our guest's career began in Plovdiv in Bulgaria, where he won the Dobrin Petkov Prize at the age of 11. He later went on to win many international awards, and we have recently seen him, recently as in, past many years, have seen him constantly by Grubinger's side as part of the Percussive Planet. He's been playing, rocking out, arranging, playing with Yuja Wang also. What the hell? This is one of my favorite Rite of Spring things that I've ever seen. It's just like, oh my God, I'm starstruck. So he studied at Bruckner University with Bogdan Bacanu and Leonard Schmidinger, and also took lessons with Sadlo and Moko Kamiya. Just like amazing, all of these people, amazing. He's here to talk about Infinity Percussion, his boutique mallet making company that he was one of the founders of, or is one of the founders of. So everyone, please welcome the magnificent Alex Georgiev to the show. Welcome, Alex.
Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for the nice words. Wow, I'm really flattered.
No,
Thank
you're
you
so
so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming. I feel like we could talk about a million aspects of your career because you also teach. Jesus, I don't think I mentioned that. I mean, you teach, you perform, you do all of these things, but you are. I think what you do here as a niche is super interesting. So we'd like to first know about how the company came about. Why don't you tell us?
All right. Well, it's actually a funny story because, I mean, as you mentioned, I studied at the Bruckner University, and with both Professor Bacano and Schmiedinger, we were basically exploring a lot about the sound. We were concentrating a lot about the way that the instrument should sound, and of course, a lot of it is connected with the material which you use. Of course, essentially, it's important the way you play. And then, of course, for the second bass, let's say like this, comes the material you use. So this made me, of course, think and listen really in detail what was happening out there, what people would use. For example, in the competitions, when you guys from the States, you were coming, you would use different material of mallets, and we would, in Europe, we would use different material of mallets. And, it was always, kind of this kind of inner analyzing, and searching for my taste in things. So basically, I tried in my times of studying at the university to explore different mallets, different brands. So I tried, from Yamaha, I went to Adams, different models, from Erho, and basically I loved them all. But I couldn't have this kind of a unified sound, and this was something which I always was searching for, and it came as an idea. First of all, the name boutique with Alex Georgiev is great because it's really exactly what we do. It's just a small kind of family friends business, or let's say music shop, if you want. And the idea was to find a mallet which would suit, first of all, my needs, how I would see sound and experience it. And then it developed, we got the ideas because we are in really we are in contact with the people at the company all the time, and we're speaking about different things. And in the beginning was more or less, let me find and make something which works for me. And then, from there on, we started speaking with people which we would play with. I would play with Martin, and I asked him for his opinions. And for example, also with Vivi, also with Fabian Ziegler, we have on board, which we're really happy about. With Rainer Furtner is there. So it was kind of me, searching here and there for different ideas from all of those people, and this came to be something which turned out as we see it right now as an Infinity Percussion. Infinity Percussion is like, the idea about behind the name is that there is kind of endless possibilities which we can offer, and this is maybe something which makes us a bit more different than any other company out there, because we can offer customized service. So we are in really in contact with each client, and we can definitely go into detail concerning his or her needs. So this is something which is, I think, quite special. And yeah, from there on, we just started exploring, started speaking to people, started making artist mallets, and yeah, it took off really fast.
Well, Alex, at University of Miami, where Ksenija and I both went, once a year, Matt Strauss did a timpani mallet wrapping class. And so we would all bring an old beat up pair of timpani mallets and strip off the remaining felt and cut and wrap our own mallets. And it was absolutely hilarious how bad all of them were. It was a master class in the ugly ducklings of mallets. And like the thing I kind of realized was like, yeah, your first performance when you start playing percussion as a kid is not very good. And you hone your performance skills through doing it over and over. And I realized with the mallets, I was like, okay, like I could invest, like I could buy the sheets of felt and all and practice, and my mallets would eventually be good. But I didn't have the time or money or interest to continue to go down that path. So I buy timpani mallets now, thanks to all the wonderful manufacturers out there. But Alex, like, what was your sort of turning point in realizing, like, okay, these are now actually professional quality mallets, not just a little project I worked on in my garage?
Well, first of all, I'm really fortunate that I don't need to deal with this process so much, with the wrapping process and everything. I'm mainly the test pilot. Let's say it like this. I mean, I tried it. I can do it, of course, but maybe I'm not the most patient guy to do it. Let's say like this. And I know I'm really fortunate that I have my family and friends, working on that process. And yeah, the first thing what I have to say, you're absolutely right. This takes time. The first thing which is really important is to have patience with it, like with everything, like with practicing, like with everything what you start new. You need time to just enjoy this process. So of course, the first mallets which we did, they were not great. The balance was not great. They were too harsh. They were extremely heavy. The materials were not fine. They were unwrapping really fast. They were breaking down. So, you had to make a research, try, you buy something, you try it out, it works or it doesn't work, you switch, you adapt. So first of all, it's really important for everybody which is interested to make something like this or to start making mallets or instruments, is to have patience. Patience is the key to absolutely everything, just enjoy the process, Concerning the timpani mallets, for example, I have to say we don't make timpani mallets, and maybe we will not even go there because there are so many great manufacturers, as you said, around the world and here in Europe, that we just don't stand a chance. I think from the competition there is no point.
I had a question just because in the past year I've been trying to run my composition business is more of an actual business and not just this goofy thing that goes on in my spare time. But I was wondering, what are some of the most necessary skills musically and, business related that a person really needs to have to run, a boutique mallet making company or really any small percussion manufacturing company?
Great question. Thank you. And I wish you best of luck with your company, with your new project. Well, I think the most important skill for any kind of business, let's say it like this, is the communication skills. The network which you have, people which things which you can use for your advantage, to get to more people. So this communication skills, I think, is the most important thing which you can take with you before you start a business. You need to plan it really in detail, maybe write it out like a few steps, which are important for you. But I would say communication skills, and maybe something which was also really important for me. We wanted to achieve something which is not on the market, not so common, not something which I need a mallet, I go to Toman, for example, or any Steve Weiss or musikshop.de, and then I just order something. We wanted to go a bit more closer to the customers, and basically this is if you may the communication skills, then the network, and something special which can make you look a bit more interesting. I'll stand up.
I was going to say, I know there's so many like business things, and one of which is like how to handle your taxes. And just a little anecdote, I remember Casey a while back was telling me that people were saying like, oh yeah, well, like if you want to get your business taxes down, you have to like invest. So like buy a printer and write that off as an expense. And Casey was like, yeah, but like, I'm not trying to buy printers. That's not the goal of the company.
Yeah, I understand that.
Go to his house, he's just got a ton of printers.
Well, we know we have a lot of mallets to burn. It's also an investment.
Yeah, well,
winter is coming.
Yeah, winter is coming. Yeah, I think this is, as Caleb said, it doesn't matter. I mean, you might be listening to this episode and thinking, wow, I'd really like to start making mallets, at least for my friends, or rewrapping them, or maybe you're not interested in mallet making, but there's something else. In any case, at any point, you have to pitch yourself, your skill, your company, whatever it is, at some point. And as Alex said, networking is so important. But I'd like to go a little bit deeper into that. What is good networking for you, Alex? Like, how do you create those relationships? How did you create a relationship with Vivi or with Fabian? And how do you start a collaboration with an artist when you're a new company?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I have to say I'm quite fortunate in this area to know these people personally. Of course, it is more difficult to set up a connection with a person which you don't know. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, you need to work a lot on your presentation. And for me, it was easy because, I played already with those people. For example, with Vivi, I play with Martin, with Fabian, with all of the artists. Basically, mm-hmm. we worked together as on the stage, right? So that was easy for me. Secondly, I really want to stress this out. Our company, the idea about our mallets is to make something which is mainly is fitting a certain group of players. It's mainly concentrated on professional percussionists, on active players, on players which are playing concerts. And this was something which was really important for us from the very beginning, because, our mallets are generally a bit more heavy. They are not so comfortable for unexperienced players. Mm-hmm. Maybe for someone it's going to be, of course, it's a matter of question, of course, a matter of taste. But setting up going back to your original question, networking was not a big issue for me because I was already, in connection with those people and life, and we knew each other, and they came to me, most of them, and asking me those questions, and wanting to try something new, because how it is with us percussionists. It's like we are going crazy. Oh my God, this is something new. I have to try it. I have to get my hands on. And it was also kind of easy because all of our artists have kind of the same understanding about sounds. This big sound, this producing sound, this piercing sound, a sound which you use in a big hall or in a small hall in front of an ensemble or a big band or a brass band, also for your practice room. So kind of the infinite kind of coverage, but with one kind of an idea of sound. So this was the most important thing. So the sound is kind of unified. So all of the models are really different, but they have the same base kind of thing. So connection is, the networking was really important, and I was quite fortunate to have it from playing with those people.
Yeah, I'd say the best piece of advice that I can give young students is be a really great friend, with your studio members, with people who you play with now. And yeah, in general, just be like a nice human being, because it might turn into, not because it might, like, not because you can make money 10 years later. It sounds so horrible. I hate it. It's like such a capitalist idea, but just be a nice person. And it also might help in your career.
No, but you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You never know what path your life will take you to. So it's extremely important to understand that exactly, as you mentioned, I'm fortunate enough to teach also in a music university here in Klagenfurt. And it's the thing I always say to my students, be colleagues, be a family, and respect each other, because you never know, where you are going to meet each other after that in life. So that's a great thing you brought up there.
Yeah, thank you for redeeming me. I really didn't mean to say be friends because it makes money later.
Well, catching.
Yeah, catching. Friendship, money. Anyway, so what has been the most surprising facet of doing this line of work for you, or most challenging?
Well, being a musician, which is concentrated since, I mean, I'm doing this since already 20 something years, you know, playing percussion, you become basically a freak. So you are really perfectionist and you want everything to be into the last detail perfect. This was maybe really challenging for us to find, you know, the base where we can grow. So the first products which we would approve, and this was really challenging. Secondly, the materials are really challenging to find. You know, for example, the rattan, which rattan would work for you. You know, because there are different stiffness, so you have to be patient, order from here and there, search for the right people, check prices. You know. Check how much it will take for the person to send you the rattan, because we work with people from Indonesia or from the US, you know, from different parts of the world, China. And these are things, you know, which are quite challenging, which you don't think ahead before you start the business, you know. So these are things, for example, also the wool, which wool would the yarn, which yarn would work, how they will sound. So, you know, you have to know that this is a huge process. You know, you have to spend days and months and years to really find the thing which would work for you, because when it works for you 100%, then you have the confidence, you know, to sell it to other people. It sounds really, yeah, but it is the way it is. It's a business. So in the end of the day, you should be aware that this takes quite some time, and there are a lot of challenges which you know, you should consider beforehand.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. Go ahead, Vin.
Well, Alex, I was thinking about like this idea of designing a mallet, and if someone were to ask me like, oh, what kind of marimba mallet do you like what do you like to play with, like I could tell you the model, and like I can, like, I hear it in my head what I like, but I don't think I could articulate very well exactly what it is about both the sound and the feel of the mallet. It's sort of like it's hard to describe. It's like one of those things that is so personal. So could you tell us about like the process of designing a mallet and working with an artist? How long does it take from start to finish? How often do you communicate and check in and send out prototypes?
Wow, great question. Thank you so much for bringing this up. This is making us a bit special. To go back to the first question, which Caleb was also bringing up, something special, something, you know, which other companies are not doing. I don't think that they're doing, at least to my knowledge. And if they're doing, I'm jealous because they never did it for me. Yes, we do this. So there are so many people, you know, our fellow colleagues from Salzburg calling, you know, and asking for models. Actually, right now I'm sending, you know, packages to them, you know, to just to check them out. I don't know if you know Richard Putz, you know, is really kind of experimenting with a lot of our things, and you know, I'm sending or to Christoph Sitzen, we did this a lot of times, or of course with our artists, with Vivi, with Fabian. It's a long process, and you're right. It's really difficult to describe what you want. Yeah, you describe with colors, you describe with, you know, heaviness, but then bright sound, but then, you know, it has to cut through. And best thing is, you know, when you had to deal with this alone yourself. For example, I was always, you know, trying to articulate myself, searching for the right mallet, but it was always really difficult. Yeah. So the thing what we do is definitely we speak about, first of all, you know, the things which we can get right. So the heaviness, how heavy do you want it to be? So for example, if you have your favorite mallet and you are like, okay, I want it to be in this heaviness, then we ask, for example, okay, can you measure this so that we can, you know, start from a point, or the thickness of the material, if it's rattan or if it's birch, you know, how thick should it be? Then what kind of wool would you prefer? So what I do with these customers is I try, you know, to search for similarities, things which they already know, and then we can start from there. And then the most important thing is, you know, to make something really fast, to send it there, and to be ready to do this 10, 15, 20 times if it's necessary, right? So it is taking a lot of time sometimes when the person, you know, asking for something special. For example, we have really interesting models. I have actually here 2 boxes with me. You know, this is a box of mallets. if you can see.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe I can show you something crazy which we tried to do, with a person, because we were playing. For example, we were playing a piece, which was going really fast from vibraphone to glockenspiel to sixen, the instrument from Ksenija,
Yeah.
a contemporary piece. So you have to be all the time, switching between mallets, which was not possible, right? So we made something which we call the combo mallet in our company. Yeah. So you have this plastic tip on top, so you can play the vibraphone normally, and then you can switch and go to the glockenspiel. So you have both sounds working for you. And this was something which which took a lot of time to develop, exactly how much this distance should be, for it to work, what kind of material. So they were breaking in the beginning. So actually we have also like plastic material which we were using, so the mallet doesn't break because it is really heavy. And then in the end of the day, the guys which ended up playing this piece, they wanted also a brass material in front, so it became even more heavy. So one mallet was like 100 grams, which was crazy heavy, but they sacrificed themselves in the name of sound, of course. So these kind of things, you have to always be open and patient with them, and try to really get as much as things which you can relate to cleared out in the process, in the beginning.
And for anyone listening audio only, you might want to go on YouTube and check out what he just showed us. It was like basically a vibraphone mallet with a glockenspiel mallet out past the tip of the vibraphone mallet. But Alex, I've always been fascinating in like manufacturing things, both sometimes like you'll have a project that's going a certain way and like someone's so sure of what they want, and then you totally change gears and you end up with something that like it's not what they described. Or also, I know sometimes like you'll be developing a project and then someone else will come in and that actually fits their mold better. So you give it to them and then you'll start a new project for whoever you were already developing for. So have you had any of these like sort of things that went way off track from where you started?
No, definitely. We had a lot of those things. And it's just so great, such a great question. I mean, this is how we came up with so many varieties of mallets. I mean, as I said, I have here a box. We have these 2 boxes, with all of the models of mallets. This is a new feature which we offer, huge boxes for the people which are not having the video on. Huge boxes, with all of the materials, and we send to people. This is something also which I don't think a lot of companies are doing. So we just send it to you guys. For example, you want to test all of our gear, just to get a whole imagination of the thing. You order them, we send it to you for free. Of course, you have to prepay something in case something happens. Then of course we return the money, and then you have the gear, for a month to check it out and to experience the sound, which is I think really important thing for each customer as an option. But yeah, to go back to your question, for example, we were working with Suni. I don't know if you know Suni, great marimba player, and now a timpanist in the National Philharmonic Orchestra in Beijing. And he was really challenging. I mean, his series came up to be extremely loved by all of our customers. A lot of people are ordering his series. So his idea was for kind of a contemporary sound, for sound which you can use for pieces like the Source, for Mirage, for example. All these Japanese contemporary literature, which is already not contemporary for us anymore, but the classics. So it's 6 models, and the number 6 mallet, he said, I want a mallet which can work from C to C, from C5 to C1. And I was like,
Nice.
what?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, but it was a huge challenge, and we made it happen. I'm really satisfied from the results. So it's like mallet, I don't want to give all of our secrets, of course, but for people which are interested, it's just different materials inside the core, right? So that it can make it work. It can make it piercing. It's like a triple tone, as I would say it like this. A triple tone mallet, of course, with a gumi and a plastic core. And it is from there we managed to to get so many ideas about different types of models which we can use. For example, there was a question from a colleague of ours, I'm playing this piece and I'm switching from skin to wood to metal instruments, and we basically used that idea from Suni's model to make that happen. So yeah, there are a lot of crossover projects coming from here, and then you can use it for something different, and you just have to start somewhere.
Yeah, well, going off of that, yeah, when it comes to designing some of those niche products like the Vibe Clock Duo mallet, yeah, where do you find the balance between what the artist wants and what will be marketable to to your general market?
If I could also add to that, like how do you learn to say no? Like at what point can you say like, no, we can't make a snare drum stick that also works on timpani?
Any snare drum stick works on timpani if you try hard enough.
If you try hard enough.
Well, that's a really interesting question. I mean, I don't think that until now we said that there is something which was not possible. This is not a commercial, nothing. I don't. I'm not saying that we will not come up to this point, but there were a lot of interesting, demands from our customers, and of course, everybody wants something which works for everything. As you mentioned, snare drum mallet, which you can use immediately on timpani, and I think there are limits. Definitely, there are limits to the things which you can manage, but I definitely am this kind of a person, and I think we as a company and community are kind of experimenting, and we love these kind of challenges. So I think that we would never come up with this kind of crazy idea to put a glockenspiel mallet in front of a vibraphone head if we were not who we are. So we are always trying, and there's of course moments that the product is not approved to 100%, and you have to be always ready for this. And maybe then at the point where you are running out of options, then there is nothing bad in saying, I cannot do what you are requesting me, and I'm really sorry. So this is legit outcome of any situation. It doesn't matter if it's about a concert, squished by a deadline, you have to do it. You have to, sacrifice all your life for these 15 minutes of craziness. No. There is nothing which you have to do in any price. So in the end of the day, we are fortunate enough that we managed always, to fulfill our requests. But I'm sure that maybe there will become a time where you just have to say no.
Right. And so what is the sort of timeline that it usually takes from your first conversation with an artist customer that they want to make a mallet to when you pop it into the market and you're like, hi, you can buy this signature sound now? How long does that take?
It's really depends. Thank you for the question. It really depends because for example, with Suni, it took us a lot of time because he was really, but it was really easy on the other hand because he was really specific. So if you're an artist, for example, when you want to work with some company, or some company, mallet company or instrument company is really interested in you, the first thing which you should consider is really to have your thoughts well organized. This is so important to have it really organized, to know exactly what you want, even if it's with colors, even if it's with abstract, terminology, just shoot it, but it should be more so that we know exactly how to shape the product which you are which you have in mind. So with Suni it was really challenging. It took us quite some time, it was back and forth because he was in China and we had to send all the products to China, wait for his feedback, make it again. I think it took like 4 or 5 times, forward and backwards. He was really specific with his color. I mean, for all the guests which watching the video, it's kind of turquoise color of his mallets, his signature Suni mallets. That's how they look. Yeah. And these kind of specifics, they might take some time because it's not just about the color, it's about the sound. The sound should also be considered in the first place. There comes the color, and all the artists are quite specific exactly with this, which is of course important because this is the first thing you see. You first see the thing, then you hear it, unfortunately. And then for example, with Vivi, with her vibraphone mallets, she was really also specific. We sent her the first version of them, and she was really happy. She was like, exactly what I need, perfect.
Oh wow.
Absolutely, this was so surprising for me because Vivi is an artist. She's really specific. She wants really every detail to be cleared beforehand. But and that's why we were prepared to have 3, 4, 5 versions going here and backwards. That's why it's different. It's always depends on the artists. Always depends on the artists. And as I say again, before you start with the artist series, or you want your mallets to be made from a company, then really sit down and think about exactly what you want. Let's say from weight, from material, from color, from hardness, and always make comparisons to different mallets which are on the market. This is then really easy for a quick end result.
Yeah, of course. Well, another thing that I think people need to consider when wanting to embark on this journey is that none of this stuff is for free. As you said, to order stuff from Indonesia or China or from America, and then to be able to test it and ship it out to people and all of that stuff, it takes money. So in order to start making money from this, you need to invest money in it. Now, of course, every business is different, but what kind of financial investment was necessary on your end, or what would you say to people? What should they consider having as their primary expense before they start doing something like this?
Great question. So I think, first of all, nobody should start a business with the idea that you will make money out of. This is just, don't do it. This puts so much pressure and stress from the very beginning. It's something which might happen, something which might work, and of course you dream about it and you are really motivated and positive. But just, it's my personal advice: don't start something, whatever it is, and think about how much zeros you add to your bank account in the end of the month. This doesn't matter. First things first, make a product. Make something which you like. So it's about with everything with life. When you like something, you are absolutely sure you like it, then other people will start liking it as well, because you will be 100% sure that this is the thing which you believe in. So yeah, you need, this is, unfortunately, it's not just words, and it's about in the end of the day investing in something. And definitely after you seeing that something works, then you can of course think about the steps, and there are many steps to think about. I was again fortunate to have people which are a bit more aware of the markets and about how to organize finance and where to look at, and we're working as a team. This is the second thing. You need help. You cannot do it on your own. Mallets wrapping, making mallets or instruments or whatever it is, you need people. It's okay not to do it alone. Okay, you need support. You need people from different fields, right? You can definitely, there are so many podcasts you can listen to from great business developers, which you can pick up. It's not about being a musician. It's about, then entering a completely different world of business and management. As we said, communication skills and all of those things, are really important before you invest a lot of money, right? Then after that, of course, when you see that something works and might get liked, then comes the moment that you should risk. There is always a risk. You have to always, there is nothing which you can start with and be 100% sure that it will work. Yeah, it's the same when for example you buy a marimba. You don't know that you're going to become a marimba soloist, right? No, everybody wants to, but it's not so easy. So in the end of the day, you invest in something, but but you risk it, and it's the same here. I think also I always recommend for people, if I can drill in a bit more here, to invest in instruments, because this always you can refund your money back, because you can resell, or how it is with the wood right now, with the rosewood marimbas, they're getting less and less, and maybe in 10 years, who knows, this is going to be like a Rolls Royce from the 60s, who knows, sells. Yeah, so it is an investment, but it's a secure investment. You can do that. Concerning the mallets, it is also quite like this. You don't need so much money to start with, right? To make kind of an end product, you don't need so much money, but of course you need something. Let me say it quite straightforward. Something between $500 to $1,000 or euros you need to start to be able to create something, right? Something for yourself, to start with, which is not so much money, right? But then if the sum is so low, let's say like this, you cannot buy machines. So you have to find a person who has to make this for you. Maybe you have to pay him a bit, maybe it's a friend of yours, maybe it's a person who makes chairs, who makes wooden stuff. So there are a lot of things to be concerned about, but it's not the most expensive thing to invest to start with.
Yeah, you brought up a couple of great points in there. You talked about rosewood. I bought a 4 1/3 octave rosewood marimba when I was in high school, and then sold it probably 15, 16, something like that years later, for a profit. I actually made money off of just owning an instrument for that long, which it's true. Rosewood.
Wait, Ben, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think I netted like $200 on it. It wasn't like a huge profit, but point is, it actually didn't lose value. It actually gained a little bit of value. So that was a cool experience for me. But also, in terms of like, if you want to start a mallet company, like it's like, I think, the quote unquote real mallet companies, most of them probably have specialized hardware to like wrap mallets and things. And I remember we had George Barrett from Innovative Percussion on the podcast a long time ago. And he said when they started, I'd have to go back and check it, but it was something like they had like a golf cart that they had like taken the motor out of and were like using a cymbal stand to like, it just sounded like the most rickety operation. But like I'm sure back then they didn't have the capital to make some custom mallet wrapping machine.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, what we do in Infinity Percussion is everything is handmade, so it takes a bit more time, but we do it by hand. We managed to also make customized wrapping machine. Yeah, this is true. We have already, we are for example, the test sets and everything is made by a customized wrapping machine, but it is also you have to kind of, it's mechanical, it's not automatic, so it is without a motor, which I find really great because whatever, I don't want to speak about other companies. What we try to do essentially, with or without a machine, what really maybe should be as an interest to all the buyers or all the customers is when you buy Suni number 5, let's say, mallet from us, and you play it for 15 years, and then you call us and you say, I want again a Suni 5 mallet, then the mallet which comes should be the same, should sound the same, should be approximately, of course, because of the rattan, it's always difficult to have the same weight, but approximately the same. So it has to be the same mallet, sounding wise, 100%. So whatever it is, if you're using a machine or you're making it by hand, you just have to be really, really careful to make notes, and to use always the same materials, and really to be picky about this, because this is something which is really important for us. That's why we had a lot of, for example, questions from Thoman and from different shops in Switzerland, in Netherlands, in England, people which wanted to represent our products. So they wanted to buy a huge amount of our products, to store it there in their stores and to show it to other people, which I just don't want to do, because we are, as I said, we are a small company. I want to keep it small, and I want to keep it really, really extremely how should I say, clean from these things. Because when you start producing a lot, you know, when you want to manufacture a lot of mallets and sticks, it always you are going to be lacking a bit of precision, you know, always, because it's machine, it's fast, it's just, you know, producing and shipping it. For us, it's really important to keep up the price exactly in the middle of you know, really top prices, you know, in starting to $80-$90 or $100, or there are of course valuable mallets for $200-$250. We are keeping it somewhere between the line of 50 and 70. And then, you know, we offer, of course, the quality behind the price. So this is something which was really important for me from the very beginning to keep, you know, to keep that line.
So you mentioned a few times, you know, you might need to find a friend who's gonna wrap the mallets, or what did you say, a furniture maker who can handle like the wood and everything. So how many people is Infinity Percussion, or how has it grown or changed?
Well, as I said, it's a family business. First of all, it's my family that we are working a lot. For example, my brother, my mother, my father, and this is really great because I mean we're keeping it really like a family business, and it's really kind of you know, everybody is burning for this. You know, everybody is really trying to make their best. And I think this is something which I would recommend for everyone who has a supportive family, which I'm fortunate to have. Because, you know, family, they will always, you know, do their best in the end of the day. You know, you can find friends, you can find relatives, you can find everybody. Family is, you know, is something which we, for example, are fortunate to have working as a unit. So we didn't grow at all. I mean, we are keeping it like this. We are trying to speed up the process, and I think we are managing to speed up the process. And I think that with these new features of you know, shipping mallets to people, you know, trying them firsthand, makes it really important, really interesting. And in the end of the day, you know, you have to be dedicated with what you do, and then everything is possible.
So we mentioned already that you teach and perform extensively. How much time does Infinity Percussion take out of your schedule, because you're already so busy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you are when you're a musician, whoever, you're a multitasking system. You know, there is no musician nowadays which is just a musician. You know, you have to be a producer, you have to be a composer, you have to be an arranger, you have to be you have to know how to deal with many different sound engineering programs. You know, you have to make your own website. You know, you have to be so many things in one. You have to be a multitasking machine from the moment that you open your eyes until the moment you go to sleep. So I think it's not so much, it's not so bad. Of course it takes time, but it's something, you know, which I do with pleasure. This is the most important thing for everyone who wants to do something next to their normal income, let's say like this, because my main job is as a teacher, then I'm a performer, and then I'm doing also mallets, right? So how much time? Depends. Of course, Corona was something which we felt, you know, from sales. Of course, then you don't have so much sales. Then you have to do a bit more promotion. In normal days, for example, 2019, 18, you know, we didn't need to do so much promotion for all the products because people, you know, they were active. And now I feel some kind of you know, people are tired from all of this, and you know, our main source of clients are coming from Europe, and in Europe right now the situation is a bit insecure, so people are not playing so much concerts, so of course they don't need so much material, and which I understand completely. But then you have to, of course, do more for your advertisement. So let's say on a regular basis, if you have your schedule right, then I don't know, 2-3 hours a day when it's really busy, and between half an hour and an hour daily, you know, when it's not so busy. You know, you always have to be on a call, you know. And this is also really important. It is not like this that you make some great mallets and then, you know, people start buying them. You have to calculate the time until the person buys, in the end of the day, the mallets. You know, it can be 2 mallets, it can be a whole set of mallets, doesn't matter. It takes the same amount of time. So you have to know that you need time, right? And be patient about it, be humble with it, and it will work out eventually, you know, if you're really burning for it. So yeah, I would say not so bad, between approximately 1 to 2 hours per day. Most importantly, keep your schedule clean so that you can squeeze it between rehearsals or practice sessions or teaching sessions, and then you're fine.
Well, there you heard it. Although I feel like that 1 hour, 2 hours for you might be like 3 to 4 hours for us mortals, you know, like times 3 times 4 for everyone else. Figure it out. So the last question that I had, and then I'll hand it over to Ben because he had some interesting direction that he wanted to take us in, is something you already touched on, but I'd like to go a little bit deeper. And it's the question, the idea of the vocabulary that we use to describe sound. So all of our words are borrowed, and I keep thinking, you know, I'm always as a teacher and in conversation with, you know, friends and chamber groups, we're always looking for better ways to describe what we want, but all these words are borrowed, whether it's dark or bright or nasal or a sweeter sound. It has nothing to do with how we hear things, but everything with, you know, our eyesight, our taste, we borrow it from all these other senses. And I can imagine for a company like yours that relies on creating sounds and everybody has a different vocabulary, must be really challenging, really fun. But also maybe you should come up with like a dictionary of sounds or something, or like, you know, like here are the words that we should use. How do you handle that challenge? You know, when things go back and forth and they say we want dark, and then you send them something and then they're like, this is not dark. You're like, well, what I know is dark.
Yeah, well, exactly. You are so right. I mean, this is really difficult because, I mean, then you have to be understanding person. You know, you understand full, if there is such a word. But you know, you have to be you have to be ready for all of these options. That you send something which doesn't work at all, and you shouldn't be disappointed with it because it's a process. Nobody is expecting of you. Don't put too much pressure on this one, because it's, as I said, something brilliant might came out, you know. So for example, you send something which he says or she says it's dark, then she or he's checking it out, and then he says no, it's bright, and then okay, but then at least I know that it's bright. So you have some base to start with.
Yeah.
You know, at least. So in the end of the day, you're right, it's really difficult sometimes, you know, when a person calls and he starts describing in this kind of way, with this kind of, you know, terms, it's not so easy. But that's why we are so fortunate to have a company, or let's say we are fortunate to have people in this company which are active musicians. So for us, it's a daily thing. So for us, we speak with so many different musicians, and I had the fortune to play and to work with a lot of violin, piano players, you know, the real musicians, and you know, to work with them and to see what they find dark and what they find bright and what they find light, you know. And maybe it's kind of this intuition which I developed throughout the years, which helped me, you know, to shorten up this process from the moment that I send the first tests to the moment that they are actually satisfied with it, right? So in the end of the day, it's about you being open with it, just relaxed. If they are not satisfied, give them the feeling that you got this covered. This is really important. For every client, it's really important that he feels secure that you are going to manage this, you know? So the most difficult thing, coming back to your question, is to describe a mallet. On our webpage, we have different, you know, descriptions for each product. This is really, really then difficult because, you know, you want to be really straightforward, but actually you have to borrow exactly all of those words to come to the conclusion of the whole product, right? So, I mean, we have to borrow all of these things, and I think that experience is also really important, plays a really important role. So when you are already a couple of years into this business, then you can react and understand exactly what they need more easier. Yeah, definitely.
Well, one more thing that I noticed that you have on your website, which I think is really great, is that you have sound files associated with mallets so that people can hear them. But, you know, that's another conundrum in my head because anytime you set a mic to an instrument, it's gonna distort the sound in some direction. And then of course we are so used to airbrushed sound, which, you know, are these beautiful albums that we listen to that are produced magnificently, but that's not how a marimba sounds in real life when you're in an audience in a dry room. Da, 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 da. How do you make that decision of what kind of a sound file you're gonna put up that's, you know, best representative?
Well, we are, which it's something which I also didn't want it to do in the end of the day, but it's a cool feature to have. I don't think that people should, you're absolutely right, people shouldn't rely on these sound files completely. Of course not. There is nothing which can replace the moment that you get the mallet in your hand and you play it on your own, in your practice room or in the rehearsal room. There is nothing which you can replace this with. So that's why I'm, you know, everybody from us knows, you know, we are now in the second year of Corona crisis. So there is nothing which can replace live performance, right? It's the same with testing mallets and hearing how they sound. So that's why, you know, I have the idea right now, which is a project which we're going to do maybe soon, by the end of the year, that I'm going to make with all my students, kind of, you know, samples of all the models, and they're going to be also with videos and with different pieces, which I think that the mallets are fitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is a bit closer. So not just to have the normal test video where you play the whole instrument from C to C and backwards, but to play actually a piece, you know, which you think that the mallet would suit. I think this is a bit better approach for the customer, you know, to get an idea what he wants or she wants. So in the end of the day, I think it's was a really important step that we made test set boxes. What I have here right now with me, these are two boxes, which are, both of them are 26.5 kilos, right? This is a lot. I don't know how much pounds this is.
Oh my God, that's 50, over 50 pounds. That's crazy.
Over 50 pounds,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and this we sent all over the world. Right now they're in Munich. They're going to be next week in Belgium, and then they're going to Netherlands. So, you know, people are really interested. And I think this is the future. I think this is the only way to be able to experience the whole Infinity Percussion sound, right? So the easiest is to write us on our email, on the webpage, and ask for a test set, and then, you know, all the details are following.
The funny thing is, hearing you say that, like, that's normal for other instruments, like trombonists with mouthpieces. They'll write and get 5 mouthpieces to try. And the closest we have is going to PASIC and listening in a very noisy room with bad acoustics.
Oh God, that's horrible. That's horrible. I know people try, but oh my God, that's the worst experience for sound ever.
I love the high school kids that like act like they can like really hear. It's like, no, stop. But Alex, just to close us off today, I wanted to ask about something actually totally off topic from all of this. I know you play with Martin Grubinger a lot, and there's this video of you playing the Bartok Sonata with Yuja Wang, which anytime we can on the podcast, I like to talk about the Bartok. And it looks like you guys have it memorized. And to be clear, if anyone's not familiar, they're not playing the 2 piano version. They've taken the second piano part and split it between 2 marimbas, and then have the 3 percussionists behind that. So whose idea was that? What was that experience like? How did you memorize that?
Oh, thank you for the question. I mean, first of all, Bartok Sonata is it's so important for our literature as a classical percussionist to start with. You know, it's something which, you know, you hear so many times. You know, it's a brilliant piece of music. So I think this, you know how it is with also this kind of standard marimba pieces. You know them already before you start playing them because you listen to them so many times. So this was not so difficult as I expected, but it was of course really challenging because you have to play the inner voice here and there, something which you cannot identify when you hear the whole piece from the original version, right? And it's so brilliant. It's so brilliantly written that you get so into it. I mean, Ksenija, I know that you did the Writer's Spring. You know, it's really brilliant just to be able to play this, right? And you get so motivated. So it is in the end of the day a task which you can see like impossible, but then you are so invested that in 2 weeks you're done. You know, and you're like, how did I manage this? Yeah, because you like it, you love it, it's a pleasure, and then you just manage it. but of course, it's connected with a lot of rehearsals. The rehearsal plan with Martin is always really strict. It's a lot of rehearsals, a lot of work, professional. The whole idea came from his father and Martin. Both of them had this idea. They have always really challenging ideas, and I think this is what makes them really special as an ensemble. And of course, Yuja was fantastic, to perform basically the first piano, but also grabbing here and there parts from the second one. It was a great experience. Behind us we had Martin's father and our teacher Leonard Schmidinger playing the timpani. So it was, first of all, it was an honor, to play something like this. Of course, it was crazy to do something like this, which was also extremely motivating to do it in the end of the day. As a musician, you want to go crazy about it. And I think it was something, which a lot of people didn't expect. And I think with this, we brought a bit more color, to the whole thing. Something which you couldn't hear, before that with the two pianos. As I say, the original version of Bartok is unbelievable. It is amazing. And what we did was, we tried to experiment with it, to see how far we can go.
I mean, it was wonderful. It's just a re-envisioned version with so much love. It's not taking anything away. It's just such a beautiful homage to the piece and so well done. It's like incredible. So
I just so badly want to play the second movement with all the glissando. So it looks so fun.
Well, this was funny actually, because actually they're written out the glissandi, and we were practicing this, and I was like, Martin, everything cool, it's great. I mean, it's going really well, but in the second movement, this glissandi, what are we doing there? He was like, I'm struggling with it also extremely much. So actually, we went to the first rehearsal, and I was like, oh my God, this moment is coming. And then we look at each other and we're like, we should do something about this moment, And then we tried actually this glissandi, which actually it was so great. The effect of it was so amazing that actually you couldn't actually maybe hear it so much on the piano, because you have to push basically all the Klaviertasten, we say in German, but the keyboard. But here, when you go so smoothly, it just makes this kind of a cloud of sound, which was really, really nice.
Yeah, I think it looks so fun. I would have trouble just not like laughing when I was doing it. It's so cool.
Thanks.
that's awesome. Well, Alex, before we close off, why don't you tell us what are some of your near future plans? Where are we gonna see you? Where are we gonna see Infinity Percussion? Just tell us what you're expecting for your life in 2022, since it's around the corner.
Well, in 2022, I'm really excited with a lot of different projects which I start now. Basically, Corona gave me a bit of time, to restructure my musical ideas. I'm doing a lot of arranging. I'm doing a lot of new compositions, with our new ensemble. It's with me and my colleague Fabian Homer, which is also teaching here at the university. Called Alpha Duo and Friends, and a lot of exciting stuff are coming out. So stay tuned. We have some concerts booked. We are keeping our fingers crossed that they happen actually, because we had a lot of them, canceled. What I would say about 2022, which I would wish for myself, is definitely more and more people interested in trying something new, because I think this is something which is always a challenge for a new company, for a new business, to find the public, which is open to try something new. And I think with our new features of sending, test sets and everything, we are going to approach more and more different people and communities which are maybe going to be interested in then after that, starting to play with our materials and mallets. And yeah, I'm really basically excited to go out of this, pressure of, pandemic and, depression, and go out and see again full halls of people, cheering, and just hope for the best for all of us.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we wish all of that for you too, keeping our fingers crossed for your concerts and your projects.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing it. Thank you for being our guest.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation, guys. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Ben. And we will see you all on episode 310. Bye.